Welcome to the Thursday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday morning. Ooh, we definitely have some headlines to go through. But first, some delicious coffee. Hey, how's it going, Sumdown? Okay, so let me get some of these headlines over here.
Wait,
Hey, Doc, how's it going? Morning. Had to report a page because... Oops. Come on. Had to... Oh, no. Hold on, folks. Had to report a page because the dude's been streaming for like 40 hours and it's just sitting on a page doing nothing, and the guy doesn't even talk. Oh my goodness. That's such a strange... That's such a strange thing to do for a stream. I mean, at least I just sit here and show stuff, but at least I talk about it. At least I talk about it, okay? Okay, so we got climate change headlines. Lots of stuff happening with climate change. I'm sick of listening to the discourse surrounding the Kingdom Pride parades, especially from folks who aren't part of the community, and seem to be unaware that we've hashed out this issue within the community for the past 50 years. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that one. Okay, so I think this is it here, so let's go ahead and start getting some of these headlines. Start knocking out some headlines, yeah? Alright, this one is important, I think. I found this one interesting. Hey KTS, how's it going?
So we've been seeing a bit of friendly competition between two oligarchs, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos.
Friendly competition.
And as you all know by now, Elon Musk, he has his space company, SpaceX, and Blue Origin is owned by Jeff Bezos. So these two oligarchs have been competing for a private government contract with NASA that is very, very lucrative. And unfortunately for Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk emerged victorious. However, there are some United States senators, one in particular, who feel really bad that this oligarch didn't get this multi-billion-dollar contract for his private space firm. So what did the Senate decide to do? Carve out their own allocation of resources so Jeff Bezos can also get his own private government contract, so both of these oligarchs can be satisfied. I wish I were making this up, but I'm not. The details are that shocking. So as Sarah Sirota and Ryan Grimm of The Intercept report, now that Jeff Bezos' spaceflight company Blue Origin has lost a multi-billion-dollar contract to Elon Musk's SpaceX, Congress is prepping the ground for Bezos to win a contract anyway, ordering NASA.
Hey, SurferGirl Philly, how's it going? Please go to twitch.tv/SurferGirlPhilly. And I'm getting a spam call. Scam call. Stop. Yeah, go to twitch.tv/SurferGirlPhilly, and true. With anything, I'd rather people go to informed sources on any type of discourse, yeah? Fun fact, 10 billion could house half of the homeless for a year. Yep. Bezos was the contract and somehow we need to bail him out. Yep, that's how it goes here.
NASA to make not one, but 2 awards. The order would come through the Endless Frontier Act, a bill to beef up resources for science and technology research that's being debated on the Senate floor this week. An amendment was added to that legislation by Senator Maria Cantwell of Washington to hand over $10 billion to NASA, money that will most likely go to Blue Origin, a company that's headquartered in Cantwell's home state. Oh, very telling. Cantwell's amendment is no sure bet, though. Senator Bernie Sanders introduced the last-minute amendment Monday to eliminate the $10 billion. Quote, "It does not make a lot of sense to me that we would provide billions of dollars to a company owned by the wealthiest guy in America," Sanders told The Intercept on Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just as clear-cut as that, right? It's legitimately just as clear-cut as that. Why does this person need more? Why? It is absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Look, you've got the kajillions. You want to fund your own little whatever, do so. It's not our thing. Yeah, giving 10 billion to the world's richest man while spending 8 billion to acquire MGM. Yes, exactly, Hippo people. That's exactly where we were going with that. Well, at least where I was gonna point that out. So yeah, I guess spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Okay. Yeah. So explain to me how this is okay, and then approving or allowing Amazon to acquire MGM. I mean, where's the antitrust legislation? Where's the antitrust? If tomorrow Jeff Bezos over here, blessed be thy name, please don't eat me off Twitch. If he's allowed to acquire MGM, what's to stop him from acquiring, I don't know, X company? I mean, where does it end? Where does it end? Yeah, all that while failing to eliminate any type of student loan or raise the minimum wage or even provide an extra stimulus check, which we'll be talking about over here. All of that while just absolutely doing nothing to try to address roots of core problems that we have here. In fact, this is doing the exact opposite. This is perpetuating the problem.
Blue Origin spent $625,000 lobbying the Senate in the first 3 months of 2021, according to lobbying disclosure records. Among that spending was $50,000 to a team of lobbyists at a firm called Clark Hill that would specifically focus on the moon landing program. The team includes John Culberson, a former member of the House from Texas and one-time chair of the House Appropriations Subcommittee that covers science policy. The White House also appointed Culberson last year to the National Space Council Users Advisory Group that makes policy recommendations to NASA. After the loss, Blue Origin and Dynetics filed protests with the Government Accountability Office, which currently remain open, but Congress seems to want to bypass the watchdog with a multi-billion-dollar handout to NASA to award more contracts. So this is being done at the behest of Jeff Bezos, presumably just to make sure that he's happy. Are we shocked?
What?
I don't think anyone who watches this channel and knows that we live in a late-stage capitalist society is going to be shocked by this. But I mean, this is why I say all the time that normal Americans do not have an impact on policy outcomes, and also because this is backed up by political science research. So, a 2014 Princeton University study confirmed that normal Americans have a statistically insignificant impact on policy outcomes. However, when they measured the impact and influence of business interests and elites and how much sway they have over policy outcomes, they have all the say over policy outcomes. And we're seeing this in action.
Yeah, I mean, like, wait, like the idea that anybody would think that somebody like Jeff Bezos or whatever other oligarch does not have a disproportionate impact on policy is just not living in reality. I mean, really, everybody knows that money is power. That's what it is. Let's all fake an apocalypse, and let's all fake an apocalypse and have the rich round themselves up and shot to Mars. I don't know how we would get that one done. Find it hysterical that I got away with what I did yesterday. Yeah. Nice, Surferbo. Yeah, but anybody who thinks that like there's seriously no disproportionate impact based on how much money you have is just not living in the same reality. Yeah.
Not only does Maria Cantwell want this contract awarded because this is essentially pork, this benefits her state, it'll create jobs in her state, but also because they want to make sure that Jeff Bezos, who may or may not fund future campaigns, who's been lobbying a lot of members of Congress, they want to make sure that this individual stays happy. And so if you're forced to choose between one of two companies, both run by oligarchs with a lot of power and influence, well, I mean, what's the best step to take? You just make both of them happy and you award the contract originally to one company, but then you carve out a special exemption for Jeff Bezos' company as well and make sure that his company gets billions of dollars too. This is in a country where we have to beg the Democratic Party's president, Joe Biden, to just cancel $10,000 of student loan debt, where we have to beg the president to give us the $2,000 that he promised as opposed to $1,400, the watered down amount. But yet when it comes to things like this, they have all the money in the world.
True. The definition of a participation trophy. Right, like the meritocracy is a meme.
Now, I subscribe to modern monetary theory, so I do not believe that taxes fund spending. But if you are of the belief that we only have a limited amount of resources, which the overwhelming majority of members of Congress do, and in the Senate does, I mean, are they not showing where their priorities lie? Are they not telling you everything that you need to know about them? They care more about the feelings of oligarchs than they do about normal Americans, and that is morally reprehensible. So, I mean, I don't have much commentary to add here. I think that the details of the story speaks for itself. And I think that if you live in Washington State, then you should have a lot of questions for your senator, who very clearly isn't looking out for your interests. And she seems to be fighting harder for a multi-billionaire, an oligarch, than you.
Yeah, I mean, like, case closed. I don't know what else to say to that other than, like, why is this even a thing? How? Why? We're not exactly in the position to be making these wildly, grossly irresponsible decisions like this. That's what it boils down to, right? This is a complete and utter irresponsible decision. Why? Why does this person need $10 billion more dollars? And then coincidentally around that amount, which I think he bought MGM for about, what, 9? Coincidentally, about that amount is what he used to spend to buy MGM Studios, furthering and consolidating more and more and more into fewer and fewer and fewer hands. You're perpetuating the problem. We are not in a position to continue down this path. This is unsustainable. Why are people, like, allowing this to happen? That's the real question that everybody should... This is semi-rhetorical. I believe everybody here can kind of produce the answer. But the question being is like, why is this continuous? If we know that this is unsustainable, that the income inequality is just going to be it's just going to continue. The gap just keeps widening, and with no end in sight. Why do we allow that? Why do, and furthermore, like where's our representatives? I mean, what's next? Jeff Bezos acquires what? T-Mobile. Jeff Bezos acquires Google. Like Google. I don't know who's bigger at this point. Where does it end? The clearly antitrust is useless. Clearly the safety mechanisms, and I use that word lightly, the safety mechanisms are not being used. They're just it's use. It's like they're it's not. It's like they're not even there. Yeah, it is a middle finger. It's a middle finger to everybody in this country, really. That's what it is. Oh my god, that freeze frame. Sorry, Mike. Because we keep voting in the same type of people. Yes. The state level is where it's at. Yeah. Yes, actually. Actually, then that makes a good point, because there's a reason why I wanted to point out this story here, which we will go over. Okay? So yeah, TLDR, multi-billionaire needs more billions of dollars. Some days it feels like they're slapping us in the face to see how long it takes us for us to start. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not of the position that I want something like that to happen. I do not. Okay? I do not, because I'm not sure it will achieve the outcomes that I think are best. Or in other words, I do things with the most amount of good for the most amount of people in mind. I don't know if that is what we will get. However, if things continue, it's quite possible that would, something to that effect would be on the table. Because I mean, what else? You keep screwing people without addressing the core issues, right? The core roots of of problems that have been festering for decades, right? And eventually, people are gonna have enough. Okay? You're gonna leave them with no other choice. There's people in this time, right now, who survived the 2008 crash, only to lose it all again to government incompetence, right? To complete and utter government incompetence. Yeah, peasant revolt. Hey Memo, how's it going? Hey Memmius. No, but we must be allowed pesos, because otherwise Musk will be a monopoly in the space play. Yeah, I mean, it's effectively, I don't know, it's, yeah. Yeah, the point being is, eventually, if this path continues, then yeah, it will be nothing, that there'll be no other options, or at least people will feel like there'll be no other options, right? And I'm just not for it. I think that there are still things that we can do, and whether or not the government wants to get its head out of its ass is up to them. Ask some awesome Abby Martin. I'm not sure who Abby Martin is. Alright, let's get into some climate news. Earth is barreling toward 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming, scientists warn. Yeah, this has been a constant trend. This has been a constant trend that scientists have been talking about, and in my opinion, we kind of already blew past this. And I don't know, like, why are we so fixated on this 1.5 degrees? We already, in my opinion, we already blew past this. Maybe give a tax break? Yeah, exactly. Exactly, KTS. Oh, okay. Well, no, I mean, excuse my ignorance, but her husband is Mike Preissner, and another awesome journalist and former soldier. Interesting. Well, this is what we do. Oh. Yeah, I know who this person is. Yeah. Alright, easy sometime. Gotcha. Abby does some flash and boots on the ground reporting. Yeah. Now it's all clicking together. Alright, folks. Yeah, so as I was saying, 1.5 degrees Celsius, I think that this is already, like, in my opinion, we're already moving, we're already moving past, that 1.5. Alright, Spirsky, easy as well. Alright, let's just not do that. I already pointed it out in chat. Everybody chill. Yeah, so we're 1.5 degrees. I think we're already past that, in my opinion. The average temperature of Earth is now consistently 1 degree Celsius hotter than it was in the 1800s, and the temperature will keep rising towards that critical 1.5 degrees Celsius benchmark over the next 5 years. Over the next 5 years, according to a new report from the World Meteorological Organization. Scientists warn that humans must keep the average annual global temperature from lingering at or above 1.5 degrees Celsius to avoid the most catastrophic and long-term effects of climate change. Those include massive flooding, severe drought, runaway ocean warmings that fuel tropical storms, and drives massive die-offs in marine species. Not to mention acidification. This all has very, 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 very bad domino effects when this happens, right? The new report from the WMO, an agency of the United Nations, finds that global temperatures are accelerating towards the 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming. The author of the new report predicts there's a 44% chance that the average annual temperature of Earth will temporarily hit 1.5 degrees Celsius at some point in the next 5 years. So anybody who believes that this is some ephemeral thing that's happening in generations to come, it's not a big deal. It's gonna happen probably within the next hundreds of years or whatever. No. No. There is a chance, a 44% chance, which is incredibly, like, that's disturbing, to say the least, that it will hit that 1.5 degrees threshold in the next 5 years. How then that I imagine that 44% chance increases the longer time goes without nothing being done, right? If we just continue down the path that we are in, no mitigation efforts, nothing, I imagine that percentage chance increases the longer it goes. So if it's already at 44% chance in the next 5 years, that's not that long, okay? That's 2027 or 2026. Sorry. What are the chances that it will happen in the next decade or two? Yeah, pretty likely, don't you think? In other words, I don't think we're gonna hit that threshold. I think we're past that 1.5, and we should be focusing on how to mitigate that. Hey, analyze please. You should watch your documentary on Gaza. It's really good. Is that like available on?
Did you know that
Stop
the average
it.
adult?
Is that available on like a?
We're looking for long-billed curlews. They were here.
Ah, here we are. Okay, we'll play this one afterwards. Ooh, it is. Okay, I'm gonna... Good to see you, Analyze. How's it going? Analysis, please. At 1.5, the Marshall Islands disappear, a travesty by any definition. True. We're at such a difficult place. If we don't go green soon, we're F, but also going green is meaning mine out of Earth. Yeah, so I think we went over... Well, I don't know if this was like something that I did mentally or if I went over this on stream. But there will... If we are to make this happen in time, there will be a temporary moment where we're gonna have to increase output, fossil fuel outputs, and all of this other bad stuff for the trade-off of permanently going green, right? For the trade-off of permanently getting off fossil fuels. Otherwise, we're not gonna get there in time, in which case it's irrelevant. You know? Hey, good to see you, Captain. In which case, that's GG at that point, right? Maybe I'll play the documentary on our Discord as like a thing to do. Yeah, GG. No respawn. No respawn. Where was I? The new report. Ah, yes, the 44% chance. Yeah, this is within 5 years, folks. Okay, this is within 5 years, and here we have like talks of attempting to maybe, hopefully, reduce our emissions by 50%, maybe, hopefully, by 2030. And then maybe, hopefully, we'll talk about reducing our emissions completely by 2050. I would like to point out that if this 44% chance does happen within the next 5 years, all of that is kind of gone, right? All of that is just off the window. Okay. We're seeing accelerating change in our climate, says Randall Cerveni, a climate scientist at Arizona State University and a World Meteorological Organization rapporteur, who's not involved in the report. Annual temperatures on Earth fluctuate according to short-term climate cycles, which means some years are much hotter than others, even as the overall trend goes up steadily. Yeah, the idea is look at things from a 30,000 foot view, right? There's patterns and trends and tendencies. That's what we look at, generally speaking. Yeah. Hey, Breadplays. Everyone go to twitch.tv/breadplays and go give him a give them a quick follow there. Check them out, yeah. As climate change accelerates, it gets more and more likely that individual years will exceed that 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming, and then it establishes that trend, so on and so forth. We had some hopes that with last year's COVID scenario, perhaps the lack of travel and lack of industry might act up as a little bit of a break. But what we're seeing, frankly, it has not. Yeah, we've gone like over a couple of these articles where people were saying like, oh yeah, this is great, like for the environment, like we did a good. And then, like, in the grand scheme of things, once, like, you know, reality started to hit and we realized, actually, we did, just about fuck all. Years with record-breaking heat offer a glimpse of the future. For example, 2020 was one of the hottest years on record. Yeah, that seems to be a thing. Last year, global temperatures were about 1.2 degrees Celsius hotter than the late 1800s, according to the WMO. Millions of people suffered immensely as a result. The U.S. experienced a record-breaking number of billion-dollar weather disasters, including hurricanes and wildfires, widespread droughts, floods, and heat waves killed people on every continent except Antarctica. Well, because there's not really people there. Not necessarily, just researchers. Recent climate disasters underscored the extent to which a couple of degrees of warming can have enormous effects. For example, during the last ice age, the Earth was only about 6 degrees Celsius colder than it is now on average, and an increase of 1.5 degrees Celsius is a very, very big number, and we need to be concerned about it. Yeah, but I think like there's I think the narrative needs to switch on like the idea that there's still hope of hitting this target of 1.5. At this point, the narrative needs to be a little bit more on the, we need to start talking about mitigation, and we need to start talking about how we can avoid or mitigate the worst part of it, right? The previous generations damaged the environment my children get to live in. Yeah, I mean, like, it's happening. It's happening within this lifetime, right? We're seeing some of the preliminary, like, little glimpses of what's going to be the new normal. You see the mass mice in Aussie? No. It's not say it's gonna hit Sydney in a week. Yikes. This stream is damaging the environment. What are you on about? Are you okay? The thing is, lowering the CO2 will take a long time. Well, getting us off fossil fuels should be one of the priorities that we need to do. You're complaining about the environment while destroying it? Are you okay? What does that mean? Wait, what does that even mean? This is industry level recycling won't fix it. Yeah, no, you can't just prescribe recycling and be done with it. Now, if only the boss stays home. Are you okay? You're complaining about the environment while destroying it? What? You're streaming adding nonsense bulk energy to the world? Wait. Aren't you on a device adding the same nonsense bulk to the world? You do realize that on the grand scheme of things, the amount of energy used by a laptop is very little. What are you talking about? Yes, you're using electricity, therefore you are destroying the environment. True. This guy has absolutely no idea what he's talking about. I think he's... Are you okay? This dude is so lost. Yeah, I know you are. Maybe you'll figure it out. It's okay. It's okay, buddy. You're gonna be fine. Right? How does he even know? Like, how does he... Yeah, I know. I'm single-handedly destroying the environment. I mean, if I had that power, I would be using it for single-handedly fixing it. How do you know? How do you know that this isn't powered by solar energy? How do you know that this isn't? How do you know that this isn't powered by solar energy? You're just coming here with a whole bunch of assertions. With this nonsense, like, statements. Deflect more! Oh, dude. Keep pretending you're part of the problem, my guy. Okay. Hey, Ben, how's it going? Everybody go to twitch.tv/bleepblopben. Go give him a follow, yeah? Yeah, that would be the proper thing to do. I need to stop streaming. Right? Hey, Alio, how's it going? Because if I stop streaming, then we did the thing. Right? If I stop streaming, we saved the planet. So sorry, guys. Ending stream. I have to end stream for the sake of the planet, guys. Goodbye. Sell your car and quit eating meat. I limit my meat, but I just can't quit. Yeah, I mean, trying to eliminate or stop eating meat is a good thing. Been good, been lurking for a while, but that really got me to laughing. Yeah, I know, it's hilarious. Signing off would do. Thank you for saving us. Yeah, I know. I could single-handedly stop the climate change. I should do that. The goal of the Paris Climate Accord is to keep the increase in global temperatures well below 2 degrees Celsius compared to the pre-industrial levels, and ideally try to limit warming to the 1.5. Yeah, but like I think that this is again, I think that this is already gone. This threshold. This threshold. Hang on to the feeling. It's already gone, I think. I think at this point we should be talking about mitigation. Those thresholds refer to temperatures on Earth over multiple years. So wait, really quickly. So the people who are educating people, about climate change on the internet, because it actually provides a good source to try to educate people. Do you think that those people should stop trying to educate people over the internet? Wait, I think you misfired. Surfer Go Philly with the 200 biddies. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Actually have to work? No problem. He doesn't do anything but wasting anyone's time. Yeah, like you are. Alright. Yeah, I also don't live in a house. I don't live in a house. I make sure not to use any ounce of electricity. and I make sure that I'm absolutely pure before I have the audacity to try to bring up a discussion about an issue that is incredibly important. So, yeah, this is embarrassing. Like, hey, I redeemed a rift. I know, I see you. I haven't forgotten. I haven't forgotten. He's just babbling on wasting time and energy. Well, wasting time and energy. Yeah, I'm working on how to stop breathing because I emit CO2. True. Alright, you know what? Before we continue, let's just take care of that. He's in timeout now. Yeah, they're just a troll. If they decide to come back, then ban them. Like, the point is, if you are, because usually sometimes just by timing out the actual trolls, they'll move on. They'll move on to something else. To be fair, an unsexual is a lot true. Oh no, what did I do? The mandolin doesn't hurt the environment. There you go. There you go. Oh no, that's guitar. Wait, is this seriously the same note? No. Ah, hold on. Hold on, folks. I think we got something. Nah, I don't like it. Nah, I don't like it either. Sarcasm disclaimer. What kind of mandolin? I don't know. It's Mitchell? Mitchell? I was about to rage type at you. Yeah, but like, because you talk about food and saving the... Yeah, it's just someone who has nothing better to do. Huh. Wait. Ah. Yay! I figured it out. Solid spruce top hardware. Gold hardware, real Avalon position. Under 200. Yes, it was under 200. I don't see how playing guitar and stream is saving the planet. I am saving the planet. So yeah, I figured. Okay, so this is gonna be the rift for the stream, all right? Yay. This planet doesn't even see what people do. Well, the planet needs saving because people are not cool. Gibson may be better, but they're thousands of dollars each. Yeah, I'm not like such a good man. I'm not such a good mandolin player because I'm not a mandolin player. So I just figured I'd just start with like a, you know, introductory mandolin, which actually belongs to my girlfriend. Yeah, I'm currently working on becoming photosynthetic, so I'll get my food from sunlight, rain, and water. That's true. I'm just saying that. See, yeah, maybe if I like learn how to hold my breath at intermediate times, I'll reduce my CO2 output, and that's how I'll save the planet. I always wonder what fantasy libertarians envision. Well, it's not hard. Just watch the movie Atlas Shrugged. Some mandolins that last a lifetime. Yeah, I mean it'll be fine. All right, all right. Focus, folks. Yeah, so Paris Accord, toothless, and probably won't be reached. But with every passing year of rising greenhouse gas emissions, it becomes more and more likely that humans will cause catastrophic warming. Yeah, we know that. The report estimates there's a 90% chance that one of the next 5 years will be the warmest year on record. Yikes. You can make cheap instruments sound really good if you got skills, so it's not important. Yep. True. True, right. How's it going, by the way? It is yet another wake-up call that the world needs to fast-track commitments to slash greenhouse gas emissions and achieve carbon neutrality, WMO. Secretary General Patiri Talas said in a statement accompanying the report. The UN warns that as of late 2020, humans were on track to cause more than 3 degrees Celsius of warming by the end of the century. By the end of the century. Okay? So, that's not that necessarily long ago in the grand scheme of things. By the end of the century, that's in 80 years. Some people will still be alive. That's right. Good morning. Good news from The Hague? What? What does that mean? Oh yeah, Mad Max too. If the US follows through on new promises to reduce its greenhouse gas emissions, it would help limit global warming to some extent, although other countries, including China, would also need to reduce their emissions dramatically in the next 10 years. In April, the Biden administration pledged to cut US emissions in half by 2030, compared with 2005 levels. Most of those cuts would need to come from electricity generation and transportation, including all but eliminating coal-fired plants and transitioning to electric cars and trucks. Congress is considering infrastructure legislation that could push those transitions forward. Meanwhile, the fossil fuel industry is seeing more pressure to invest in clean energy. On Wednesday, a Dutch court ordered Shell to cut its carbon emissions more quickly, although the company says it's expected to appeal the decision. What? Oh, yeah. We'll talk about this just momentarily. Yeah, we'll talk about this just briefly. And a small activist hedge fund successfully placed at least 2 new candidates on ExxonMobil's board of directors with the goal of pushing the company to take climate change more seriously. Well, the thing is, like, these companies understand the severity of climate change. There's no doubt about it. In particular, ExxonMobil 100% understands the severity of climate change. They had studies on it. They know. Like, decades ago, in the 80s, they know. Okay. Just to briefly mention, yeah, the Dutch court orders Shell to cut its carbon emissions more quickly. Although this is true, hey Doodle Muffin, how's it going? Right, knowing is not caring, correct. They did order this company, the Shell, to cut its carbon emissions more quickly. However, that is only applicable to the Netherlands, and the decision isn't final until the appeal gets solved, gets figured out. So, like, these companies will fight till the last breath for the sake of some short-term profit, instead of like the long-term sustainability of I don't know, the human race. They don't care. They don't care. You know, if they can squeeze an extra penny, they will. So, although this is good, I'm not gonna knock that. Although this is good, that there's actually a movement somewhere to attempt to hold these companies accountable, to attempt to finally point the finger where it's supposed to be pointed at, right? Saying, you guys are the producers of this, right? You guys are the ones that are responsible for this. There's also a few local cases here in the US that are trying to sue these big oil companies too. I don't know to what success, but the point is, there is some level of attempting to shift the blame properly, right? It is no longer acceptable to just say, well, we just recycle or shove the blame to the consumer. Activist hedge fund, meaning I think that the people backing that hedge fund is grassroots. The problem isn't Twitch streams, it's the largest players not being pressured enough to change. Yeah. Like, one lonely Twitch streamer isn't going to is but a grain of salt in the ocean. They aren't seeing enough pressure. Yeah, they aren't seeing enough pressure. They're comfortable making these short-term profits as long as they're getting, like, government backing with all these subsidies and stuff like that. They have no incentive to change, right? They have absolutely no incentive to change. Activist investors aren't necessarily grassroots, only that they want to change a company's agenda. Yeah, no, what I mean is, these guys are backed, I believe, by, like, trade unions and stuff like that. I forgot what the specific details was on that, but if I'm correct, these investors are, like, people who are, like, trade union backed or something like that. So that's what I meant. Hey, Heat, how's it going? I mean, you can look into that and fact check me, just so that I'm accurate, but I believe that's what they meant. Hey Heat, how's it going? Please go check out Heat, twitch.tv/Heat420_. For instance, Slaughter University in Dallas want to divest from fossil fuels. Going to the zoo today, nice. You know what? We can look this up. Fake news, I was wrong. I was wrong. I'm this close to streaming. Too bad my setup is so sucky. You got this. However, another signal of investor dissatisfaction with the company's approach to climate change. Shareholders also approved measures calling on Exxon to provide more information on its climate and grassroots lobbying efforts. Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, we're just gonna see. This may be a PR move. This may be a PR move, and this may be a PR move just to shut people up. Yeah, but who is engine number one? That's the thing. Who is engine number one? Oh my god. Oh boy, I was wrong. I don't know, ExxonMobil can see the future, just might invest the remaining trillions in wind and solar batteries and light and self-interest. Yeah, I mean, like, generally that would be the wonderful thing that they just kind of, like, do it out of self-preservation, but, like, they're not, as long as there's, like, so much incentive. As long as there's so much incentive, as long as there's governmental, like, preference, as long as they have all of this money to continue to bend the rules in their favor. I mean, like, why? If this plan is working for them, why would they change? Right? Yeah, I don't know. Press X to doubt. Press X to doubt. Howdy. Morning, morning. Okay. There we go. And the subsidies? Yeah, I mean, that would be one of the many things that we would do. Exxon is notorious for being slow to invest in green energy compared to its peers. Yeah, like, I don't think that this free market system is capable to solve this problem at this point. Did you say that fracking would not be profitable without subsidies? I think that the oil industry wouldn't be as economically sound without its subsidies. I don't think the oil industry would be as economically sound without those subsidies. Woods had argued that Exxon's board understood the company's complexity and that Exxon supports a path towards carbon reductions in the Paris Accord, the international agreement aimed at combating climate change. Yeah, because ExxonMobil knows that that's probably pretty toothless in the long run, and furthermore, I don't trust them. I'm sorry if I have a hard time believing anything that specifically Exxon has to say, given the fact, given their history of lying, obfuscating studies that they've had, right? I don't trust them. It would be, I would argue that it would be on them to show, it would be on them to show good faith before believing them. Trust issues as well, so how... So show me ExxonMobil, don't tell me. Yeah, the problem is, like, we get a lot of cool platitudes, and we get a lot of awesome speeches and awesome AstroTurfed ads about how awesome things are. Yet we're not even close to being where we need to be at, you know?
We're looking for long-billed curlews. They were here just a couple hours ago, and they were here yesterday. We'll see if they're going to be elusive curlews today.
Katie Fight wants to keep all of this land just the way it is.
Looking for the curlews. They're very cryptic.
She's a biologist with a nonprofit that works to protect animal habitats in the West.
In 2 or 3 weeks, there will be brewer sparrows singing in this sagebrush.
Yet out here in this shorter statured sagebrush, there'll be Vesper sparrows.
The South Park BB
A lot of
ad.
holes for little rodents and little snakes big snakes to explore.
She has a big fight on her hands. Sometime later this year, this part of Nevada, known as Thacker Pass, is going to change completely when it becomes the site of a major mining operation.
That whole area is part of the Thacker Pass Mine Project area and is going to be taken up with an open pit mine.
What would it do to this base?
We wouldn't be standing here like with smiles on our faces. We'd be
She has two slaves. What are you talking about?
pictures of destruction from on high.
I
Once
used to see
Thacker
curlews
Pass
in my area
falls,
when I was a kid.
the Montana mountains will fall. That's where I fear this is going.
The fight
Oh,
has
the
all the
dogs?
hallmarks
Are you-
of a classic environmental standoff. A mining company wants to dig up the earth
That's
for its
kind of a
valuable
charged
resources.
name for That's you. I mean, oh, that he's on a bearskin rug. So saying sorry for the oil spill, but you don't really believe it. Morning, morning. Not if you're vegan. Wait, but you're not eating the dogs. What?
And green groups try desperately and quixotically to stop it. But the resource in question here makes all that more complicated, because it's the one mineral that many environmentalists think holds the key to saving the planet: lithium.
The intensifying quest to find and produce lithium.
Lithium is central to the batteries used in electric vehicles.
There's no reason why American workers can't lead the world in the production
Some
of
vegans are
electric vehicles
having
and
pets
batteries.
entirely. I mean, but like, okay.
Electric vehicles and improved forms of renewable storage will be essential if we want to reduce our carbon output and stop climate change. Currently, almost all of the world's lithium comes from Australia and South America. It's then shipped to China, where most rechargeable batteries are made. But the recent discovery of lithium deposits in places like Thacker Pass could change all that and make the green revolution a lot more American.
A lot more American? What does that mean?
Let's show you a very scaled down version of what we plan to build out at Thacker Pass.
Tim Crowley runs communications for Lithium Nevada, the company planning to build the mine.
When we're up and fully running, we have the potential to produce 60,000 tons a year. 60,000 tons equates to roughly 1 million electric vehicles. It's an absolute essential project.
This is the raw material you're going to pull
Yeah,
out, and the
this is-
lithium's in here.
This is our booty. This is our ore right here.
It doesn't
So
look like
we
much.
don't have to
Yeah,
put
you're
anyone?
right,
No, we
because
don't.
the lithium in here is microscopic, and we need to break it down and separate everything else that doesn't have lithium value. In the end, this is what we're ultimately going to end up with, is lithium carbonate.
We went out to Thacker Pass, and it's a beautiful sight, and it's a little hard to stand there and not feel a little sad about it being dug up, it being turned into an industrial site.
This is a site that will be completely reclaimed. Much of that reclamation will happen as we're mining. So as we mine our pit, we're going to actually backfill.
But realistically, some damage will occur.
Goats are chill.
Some things will happen, and you talk to environmentalists, and they're definitely concerned that there are certain species that will be displaced that may never come back.
There's a false narrative about this choice about, do we mine and have these materials we need for for lithium ion
They're going to tell you how much pollution they were.
or
I mean,
do
like,
we not
yeah.
mine and not have those materials? You can mine environmentally responsibly and have all the materials that you need to bring down our carbon footprint.
Like, okay, so I don't think he needs to say all of this, okay? We understand that if we're gonna do this, there is going to be an upfront cost, right? There's going to be an upfront cost. That's just a fact. There's going to be an upfront cost about doing this.
And make profound changes to help the environment.
Sick of red, itchy mosquito bites?
That might be an overly optimistic picture of lithium's future, but it's not clear the opponents of the mine have a much more realistic idea of how to save the planet without it. Will Falk and his fellow activists have set up a permanent encampment at Thacker Pass, and they plan to be there
I didn't get
when
any
the
ads.
first trucks arrive later this
How do
year.
you get these ads?
What is the
Because I don't
setup here?
have
What are you
YouTube
doing?
Red or whatever.
Ultimately, we think we'll have to engage in some sort of direct action to block construction equipment and make sure that the mine never is built.
You're talking about almost like a standing rock kind
yes,
of situation.
Absolutely.
Most people
there
only-
are ways to attempt to reduce the environmental impact. The environmental impact, right? So yeah, of course, we should be doing everything we can to reduce the amount of environmental impact. I suspect that if we're going to have any chance, we have to acknowledge that there will be some upfront cost with the with the flip side of just being permanently off fossil fuels, right? I mean, we've got to manufacture these things to be permanently off of fossil fuels. Has Tesla bought some of the tech to make batteries without lithium and cobalt? I don't know.
The environmental movement understand that it's wrong to blow up a mountain for coal. We think it's wrong to blow up a mountain for lithium. The environmental movement has really been tricked into thinking that we're going to save the planet by building more electric cars.
No.
You don't save the planet by destroying the planet. I think that it's wrong to destroy the homes of countless creatures, to destroy indigenous burial sites so that a few members of the human species can drive electric cars. Human beings can live great lives. In fact, we evolved to walk and run places.
It's easy for you to say, man. You're living in a tent in the desert, you know?
Yeah, and we also never have a conversation in the environmental movement about reducing consumption and even reducing human population.
Whoa. Woo. Woo. Phew. I mean, I was with you up until you, okay. No idea what org is you with. Let me see if there's like a climate justice now. Protect Thacker Pass. Yeah, it didn't say what. Oh, wait.
Will Falk and his fellow activists have set up a permanent encampment at Thacker Pass, and they plan to be there when the first trucks arrive later this year.
What is this setup here? What are you doing here?
Ultimately, we think we'll have to engage
Yeah, it
in
just
some
says
sort of direct
environmental
action
activists.
to block construction equipment and make sure that the mine never is built.
You're talking about almost like a standing rock kind of situation.
Absolutely.
Looks like
Most
a little
people in
Adam
the environmental
Sandler.
movement understand that it's wrong to blow up a mountain for coal. We think it's wrong to blow up a mountain for lithium. The environmental movement has really been tricked into thinking that we're going to save the planet by building more electric cars.
Yeah, and like also that's kind of like that's kind of like I mean, sketch. Who here has listened to me talk about how if we just have more electric cars, we did the thing, right? What?
You don't save.
Well, I have good news for you, Larry Vaccinated. Birth rates are incredibly low. Birth rates are incredibly low and falling. So good news, we don't really have to worry about that. Sodium-ion batteries are expected in July this year. Nice. I think that will be a step in even the better direction instead of lithium, I believe. They're urine ions.
Save the planet by destroying the planet. I think that it's wrong to destroy the homes of countless creatures, to destroy indigenous burial sites so that a few members of the human species can drive electric cars. Human beings can live great lives. In fact, we evolved to walk and run places.
It's easy for you to say, man. You're living in a tent in the desert, you know?
Yeah, and we also never have a conversation in the environmental movement about reducing consumption and even.
First of all, wait. There's absolutely a conversation about overconsumption. There's absolutely a conversation about overconsumption.
Even reducing human population. And if we're not going to ask those questions, we're
yeah, but like I don't know, reducing human population is kind of like I wouldn't word it that way. If we're being like the most incredibly charitable take, you know, the wording is a little bit We're
going to continue to destroy places, and we're going to continue to push species into extinction.
Falk and his fellow activists aren't the only ones opposed to the project. A collection of environmental nonprofits is currently suing the Bureau of Land Management to stop it. John Hatter is the executive director for one of those groups, Great Basin Resource Watch.
Mining projects have long-term, permanent effects. They're very destructive. They're disruptive to communities. You've got to do it right to begin with.
There's something different about lithium, though. I mean, it's something that could help actually improve the Earth's health on a much broader
So no
scale.
pushback on the population control he dropped. Yeah, like it would have been nice because like it would have been nice if the guy would have asked him like, wait, what does that mean? Like wait, whoa, what does that mean? Because like if we're being as charitable and like spread it forward, said like if we're being like, if we twist it to the most charitable interpretation of that, to say like maybe we shouldn't be eager to have children, which is already happening. I mean, like people A, can't afford it, and B, just aren't having children. This is just something that happens as more and more develop, as we develop more, right? Yeah, he said reduce the population, which is like, whew, oh boy, I wouldn't use those words. I would clarify. I would ask the clarifying question, like, what do you mean? Because then he would be forced to say either A, I mean literally population control, or he would be forced to clarify and say, wait, no, that's not what I meant. I meant blah 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 blah, right? Yeah, exactly, spread it forward. So like if we could use some clarification as to why you used that statement, is what I'm saying. Because that was pretty whew. You know, he didn't mean that. I don't know.
Not worth some damage, some cost to these local places?
Well, industrialists have said for over 200 years that this is all important. We got to do it now. We got to do it now right away. And we have, as a result of that eagerness and that lack of proper permitting and lack of consent, we now have 200,000 abandoned mine sites in the United States. The EPA Superfund has identified on the order of 154 sites that are going to require up to
that's true, Larry vaccinated.
To clean up.
That's true.
Is the damage to Thacker Pass worth it? I mean, is it worth it to the greater good?
Who answers that question? Who makes that decision? That's where I come. That's where we come from. Who decides?
Everyone is biased. That's true.
Down and what area doesn't go down? Is it up to you? Is it up to me? You know, so that's the problem. And what are the rights of the people that are most affected by it? What is their voice in the process? And I think that's a question that's hard to answer.
Despite the pushback, the project seems likely to move forward. Its approval was fast-tracked during the Trump administration, and so far, the Biden team has shown no signs of getting in the way. Neither will environmentalists like Glenn Miller. He's on the board of John Hatter's organization.
Erdogan is Biden having a meeting, and Erdogan is saying it's a new era. I don't know what that means, and that's kind of not what we're talking about. But thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Women choose not to be baby machines. Is it an overproduction or overconsumption issue, or both? I think that it is a overconsumption issue because there is overproduction. Because we are being pushed these products, right? It's essentially both. Like we're being pushed these products, right? Planned obsolescence. Planned obsolescence is a problem. These another example is these disposable one-use cutlery, one-use plates, one-use whatever, you know? That's right, spread it forward. We have so many issues, it's not just over consumption or production, but we have systems that are not optimized. Yeah, that's also true. Like there's also that too. We have to drive far just to get jobs, just to get said food. Yeah, like it's... Yeah, like even if we aren't consuming all we produce and waste it, are we still over consuming? What's the baseline and what... And it's just speaking for people with the means. Yeah. Hey, how's it going? Words are fun. No, it's a whole like issue with the economic system that we have in terms of like climate change. It's not... This is not sustainable. We're continuously being pushed products, and we continue to buy products, and the more we buy, the more production happens, and like it just, I think it like it effectively turns into some type of like loop, right? Meanwhile, our landfills get bigger, our plastic islands in the middle of the oceans get bigger. Correct, spread it forward. Yikes.
Though he doesn't exactly agree with their position.
One of the things we hear talking to the people who are in Thacker Pass or care about Thacker Pass is a lot of them will say, well, we have to drive less.
They are not going to give up their cars. They are not going to give up their cars. 20% of the people are strong environmentalists, 80% are not. And they could care less about trying to stop climate change because they look, I'm just one little self. All I want to do is drive to work every day, take a trip during the, go to the store. And
right, so you make it as efficient as possible, for you to get these things and for you to do these things. I mean, and furthermore, like on the grand scheme of things, if you make it easier, shorter distances, like cars themselves, like, you know, personal cars themselves aren't the biggest piece of the equation, right? We should start with our energy systems. Our grid uses up a majority of that carbon or fossil fuel emissions. And then the second thing that we need to optimize is the way we transport stuff, right? Replacement for gas and combustion engine fuel tank with electric. Yeah, the way we transport stuff also has a huge impact. Okay?
Be harassed by someone because of it.
The traditional battle lines don't hold up here. You know, we're used to seeing environmentalists versus sort of mining interests and industrialists. And here you have, to some extent, you have environmentalists against other environmentalists.
It's all a question of values.
Tesla's planning to quit selling cars and become a robo-taxi company.
Value, and that's exactly what you get conflict of my value of having electric
We need to be
vehicles
self-sustainable and not the kind
release
where we work for corporation or so we can drive home and drive to the store to buy stuff with one-time plastic uses. Yes.
Is going to have a lot more impact.
Yeah, so, yeah, like the things that we do have to be as sustainable as possible, right? We need to urban plan around non-car necessities. You can walk. Yeah. That's a great. There we are. There he is. And there they are. So yeah, the urban planning where we reduce our consumption, and make it so that everything is as efficient as possible, the way we do this. I agree, Chai Bureaucrat. Yeah, and green public transportation can also play a part, right? That would reduce the necessity for cars and make it easier for people to get to work. There you go. Things like this, right? A good, efficient green public transportation would be one way to go.
Than stopping mining, because climate change is such a compelling problem.
These ads are so weird. Cool. Yeah, buy our stuff. Telework makes a lot of work available anywhere with a Starlink connection. Levi used to be made of hemp, and that's what made him so durable. Interesting. Maybe they should go back to that. But overconsumption is evil. Like, yeah, we're being pushed these products. Pretty much everything I need is walking distance from home. At one point, my job was walking distance. It was much less depressing than cramming into the subway with all the other peeps heading to work. Starlink. Is that like the universal like connection? Like shouldn't we, like, at this point I believe the internet should be some like essentially effectively a utility at this point. Right, why don't you advertise this for not to buy your stuff and put patches in your pants? Exactly. Like we have an overconsumption problem because, which in turn feeds the overproduction problem, because we are pushed these things constantly. Elon's satellite broadband is objectively good for rural areas. Yeah, I mean, but like all of these things should be kind of like a utility at this point. Yeah. I mean, we do need internet, and if we want to make sure we can optimize the amount of people that work from home, which then reduces the amount of cars that we need, it's another way. Alright, folks. Quick second to take a break and to show for myself. Folks, if you enjoyed the content and you like what you see, make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you go over to the YouTubes and do the like, share, subscribe, and all that awesome stuff. And make sure you spread the word that this is the chillest place to be for news and politics Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And on Saturdays, we do Saturday Catterday. And join the Discord so that you guys can keep up with the channel. We're trying to get some cool stuff going. For example, movie days or movie nights, I should say. So make sure you keep up with the channel by doing that. And if you want to support the channel, there are many different things you can do. Subs, gifted subs, biddies, donos, merch, all of that. The government needs to subsidize bikes for everyone who wants one. Yeah, like things like that. Like governmental programs like that would be excellent. And cities need to better plan for green transportation. Sure. Any type of public transportation offered should be as green as possible, right? Wasn't there like a program where they had like electric buses? Yeah, make like more efficient like bus lanes, more efficient bike paths, things like this. Make it easier for people to work from home, so on and so forth. Anyways, yeah, so if you want to support the channel, there are many different ways you can do so. I appreciate all of you guys being here. You guys are what makes this show go. I will take a quick break, and I'll be right back. Yeah, make the drivers pay for it. Yeah, I mean, we can like make sure that bike lanes that do exist are good. Alright, satellites may have been underestimating the planet's warming for decades. Yeah, here we go. Just more data for you guys. I actually took a look at Live Science, and according to what I've seen, Live Science is actually pretty good in terms of like their reliance on science, their reliance on like actual science and stuff like that. So in other words, TLDR, it's, according to what I've read, a pretty trustworthy source. Because, you know, anything that just says, oh, livescience.com must... Yeah, I actually took a look, and it seems like it's actually pretty decent reviews. The global warming that has already taken place may be even worse than we thought. That's the takeaway from a new study that finds satellite measurements that have likely been underestimating the warming of the lower levels of the atmosphere over the last 40 years. Basic physics equations govern the relationship between temperature and moisture in the air, but many measurements of temperature and moisture used in climate models diverge from this relationship. A new study finds that means that either satellite measurements of the troposphere have underestimated its temperature or overestimated its moisture. Study leader Ben Santer, a climate scientist at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory in California. It is currently difficult to determine which interpretation is more credible, but our analysis reveals that several observational data sets, particularly those with smallest value of ocean surface warming and tropospheric warming, appear to be at odds with other independently measured complementary variables. Complementary variables are those with a physical relationship to each other. In other words, the measurements that show the least global warming might also be the least reliable. Yikes. Huge yikes. Santer and his team compared 4 different ratios of climate properties: the ratio of tropical sea surface temperature to tropical water vapor, the ratio of lower troposphere temperature to tropical water vapor, the ratio of mid to upper troposphere temperature to tropical water vapor, and the ratio of mid to upper troposphere temperature to tropical sea surface temperature. In models, these ratios are strictly defined based on physical laws governing moisture and heat. It takes more energy to warm up moisture air than dry air because water sucks up heat efficiently. Warmer air can also hold more moisture than cooler air, a phenomenon that is visible in morning dew. As the air cools overnight, it sheds water. CO2 and temperature are complementary variables. Gotcha. The researchers found, though, that the satellite observations didn't stick to these supposedly well-defined rules. Instead, they fell within a wide range depending on which dataset the researchers used. This might mean that some datasets, the ones that better mesh with the physical rules governing moisture and heat, are more accurate than others. The researchers reported 20th of May in the Journal of Climate. Exactly, Memo. The datasets that best followed the rules for water vapor and temperature ratios tended to be those showing the most warming of sea surface and troposphere, the researchers found. Likewise, the ones that best followed the rules for mid to upper troposphere temperatures and sea surface temperature ratios were those with the highest measurements of sea surface temperature. More work will be needed to figure out what the satellites might be getting wrong, whether it's the moisture side or the equation or the temperature side. Ultimately using the models to test feasibility of the real-world observations can help researchers track historical warming with more precision. Study co-author Stephen Pochetli, an atmospheric scientist at LLNL, said in a statement, "Such comparisons across complementary measurements can shed light on the credibility of different datasets." I need to get one of those sound bites, the complementary, yeah. TLDR, we might actually be looking at TLDR, we might actually be looking at a rougher situation, and this other article kind of helps paint that picture. Oh, I must have taken it away. The other article that said that we might actually look at 1.5 degrees Celsius within 5 years. That kind of points to the fact that maybe this is not as good as things seem, and that other article points out that we might actually be underestimating the effects or the amount of warming that's happening. So it kind of makes sense that we're seeing these, and the more we do studies, I feel like the worse things are, right? The more studies we figure out in terms of climate change, in other words, the more we zero in on the data, the worse it seems in terms of climate change. Like, it is no longer something that is going to happen. Like, the more we study, it's apparent that it's no longer something that's happening generations down the road. Then it became decades, right? Then it became decades. Decades. Now it's like, well, folks, there's a chunk of a chance, 44% chance, that we might actually see the thing that we're supposed to be avoiding within 5 years. Yeah. So, can we do something about this? Just saying something to think about, right? It's no longer decades. It's no longer this ephemeral thing that's happening generations in the future. There's a chunk of chance it could happen right here in a couple of years. Yeah, we have, microplastics. Oh yeah, no, we beyond after planet. The sanctuary for the unborn. Are we entered in a layer of hell or what? Oh, no. This is a whole other thing. Somebody said that we need to get things done at the local level. And that's how we get victories. Well, do we need any other proof of concept? Let's get into this. Ohio town. This is a town. Votes to become a sanctuary city for the unborn. A city council in Lebanon, Ohio voted unanimously to pass an ordinance that outlawed abortion in this town. The ordinance declares Lebanon a sanctuary city for the unborn, with abortions punishable with 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine, according to the city council. It takes effect immediately. I wonder if there's like a carve out for the women when the woman's life is on the line. Like, do they still have to, after they save the woman's life, do they still have to face that 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine? Like, okay. Also, this seems like a incredibly like right-wing point here. I thought they were for small government. Small government doesn't intrude in your life, doesn't get involved in your day-to-day decisions. Isn't that what that's all about? Or is this just another attempt at gaslighting, obstructing, and projection? Jesus, surfer girl. With a face shield on. Some people really love stirring the pot. I can't see this working in courts. I mean, maybe. Up until it happens. Up until it happens, there is a case going on in the Supreme Court right now that could completely just upend all this. So yeah, no, it's not just stirring the pot necessarily. This is a real effort. Yeah, the woman is not considered in any of these decisions. That's very true. The vote took place after 4 hours of public comment and debate. Lebanon is the first city in Ohio to become such a city, according to the Sanctuary City for the Unborn Initiative. The city's mayor and vice mayor did not respond to CNN's request for comment. Approximately 20,000 people live in Lebanon, according to the 2019 census. Ohio currently bans abortions after 20 weeks. Former Governor Kasich approved that law in 2016, but vetoed a measure that would have banned abortions after 6 weeks. Six weeks. We won't get superpowers, but we might get cancer. Yes, there is evidence to suggest that these microplastics are incredibly toxic to us, and to newborn and to children. In 2019, Governor Mike DeWine signed the Heartbeat Bill, legislation that would have banned abortions as early as 6 weeks, but it was later blocked from taking effect by a judge. And the ACLU tweeted Tuesday that they were prepared to mount a legal challenge if the ordinance passed. After the vote passed, they tweeted that they were reviewing the next steps. This hyper-local strategy is another attempt by anti-choice politicians to stigmatize and ban abortions in Ohio by whatever means necessary. Yeah, so the point being is, like, this is how you would this is how you would target and enact. They get it, right? This is how you would target and enact policies, right? You lay the groundwork like this. You do local you focus on the local level, right? Because it works. These folks figured it out, right? If we are to have any chance of doing the things that we need to do in terms of, like, making this a better place, and as we were talking about climate change, if we have any chance of doing anything, it's got to be done at the ground. You got to get familiar. You got to get familiar with your city council. You got to get familiar with your representatives, your state representatives, your state senators. The job that I have is a joke, and my boss don't even have a clue that no one works here, even though people do. What? Huh? Somebody translate this? It appears so here people with capitalism as more base than people. What? We consume about a credit card's weight in plastic per week. True. True. Earlier Tuesday, Planned Parenthood of Southwest Ohio tweeted out a statement in opposition to the ordinance, noting that abortion is still legal in the state of Ohio. Abortion services are already extremely difficult to access for people in Ohio, but these efforts are part of an aggressive nationwide anti-abortion agenda to do one thing: ban abortion outright. Yeah, and they figured out after multiple attempts to just slap everything, throw everything they can at it. The new trick, which is not new, but it's incredibly effective, is to just do targeted local ordinances within local city governments and do it that way, or like eventually push it out that way. Capitalism is the root of this upheaval. I'm not understanding. I don't need credit cards myself. Well, maybe not willingly. Maybe not willingly, but you do. We will do everything we can to continue to provide safe and legal abortions to the people of Ohio who need it. Yeah, I mean, like, This is it. This is it. This is the plan. This is the plan. So, proof of concept. Local government action works. So we need to kind of learn from that, understand that, flip it on its head. Yeah? If we have a chance to enact change for the better, I mean, just using climate change as an example, if we want to get anything done, if we want to get anything done to try to make this a better place, to try to even address climate change, then yeah, it starts at the local level. Familiarize and organize. Who is your city council? Who is your local representative? Who's your local senator? What legislation is coming down the pipeline for your state or for your local city? Is it good? Is it bad? When's the next town hall? What? Without the fake medicine or deep-seated operations, globalization of global powers, and the return of climate change served... I'm sorry. I don't follow. The point being is, here, on the ground, we can take different actions, right? We can pull certain levers that we have available to us. Local government is one of them. Local government is one of them. Okay? Get familiar. Not only do the actions that you yourself take in terms of like what products you choose, what products you choose, and your efforts as an individual to curb your consumption or to make whatever you do as sustainable as possible. Well, of course, you should. But local government, state government needs to be taken into account. I mean, it is a tool, and clearly they feel like that is the same as well. I have no idea what you're talking about. Anyways, so pay attention, folks. Ohio, you live here. Pay attention. Pay attention, because this is the one of the many different types of angles of attack that is being used, right? This is one of the many angles of attack that's being used, and clearly they feel like they might be onto something. So we should probably think on that, right? As a strategy. We should probably think on that as a strategy. This is their vision. I have no idea what you're talking about. This seems like a science fiction novel being played out. Anywho, this seems pretty random. So pay attention, folks, and analyze and understand the different types of tactics that that's being deployed here. where do these people find your channel? I have no idea. It's so random. Like, they didn't even attempt to answer any of my questions. Like, what does that even mean? I don't know. For all we know, it just could be random copy pasta, random just trolls. It could not even be serious. I don't know. Just doesn't make any sense. Just doesn't make any sense. So yeah, that was the important part of this. Not only that, this is just the not only is this just the latest attack on women's rights, but the tactics that are being deployed here. We are the trolls. Resistance is futile. I remember checking out one reader's page and he was waiting to debate you, telling his chat that he was finally. And he was waiting to debate me? Wait, what? Wait. Wait. No, for real? No way. Was it the same person that was like streaming? Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah, oh yeah. Because I am a enormous streamer, so of course I've got clout. Yeah, I turned down I turned down the public spectacle of it, right? I turned down the public spectacle. Not that I wouldn't talk with him, which, yes, as you clarified, if they ever wanted to send me a whisper, they have the option to do so. I turned down the public spectacle of it, not the actual, not the actual conversation. That's the difference. Right? Because, like, I feel like if you're being serious and you actually want to have an exchange of ideas, like, do you need a public, like, audience? I mean, if you do, then, I don't know. Listen, debate does have its place. Not gonna deny that. Debate has its place, but, like, when you come at people, maybe they saw you in MR and that's how your troll origin story began, maybe. Debate does have its place, right? Of course. But I feel like if you come at a person, a streamer, or someone who is presumably just doing their thing, and you're just like, debate me, bro, right now. None of you, because I had this other guy in chat, not while I was streaming, but just as me being a chatter myself. Was like, and I was just reading this, like, oh yeah, no one here would ever debate me on my channel. By the way, I stream at 9 p.m. Eastern time, and none of you would ever show up to debate me. Like, dude, like, what, bro? You mean you don't publicly debate every rando who challenges you? Why not? Like, okay, dude. So to test out how serious you are, how about you message me? To test out how serious a person is, like, just message me, bro. We'll have a conversation. You know? They never do. They never do. And it's always the same thing, too. Part of the reason I love this stream is how chill it is. Clearly just trying to get the info you think is important out. Yeah, this is all through the lens. All of this that I pick and choose, like, articles and topics. I guess the correct would be topics. Is because I feel like these things are important. Maybe, this is a biased opinion. But, I think that these things are important. Yes, exactly, boycott Ohio. Or learn from this strategy and deploy it. Understand that this is the type of tactics they feel like it works, and maybe it is working. They're gaining ground. Maybe there's something to learn here. We need to understand that. We need to understand that they're doing these things because it works. We need to do that. Okay, if we're ever going to make any moves in terms of like climate change or anything like that, right? Or anything like that. Anything that we think that could improve this country or improve the world, the area around us, right? Income inequality, things like this. This is how they feel like they can enact their agenda. So maybe let's get familiar with our local and state politicians, huh? I remember a musician arguing with another musician on the radio, and he said, I have one last thing to say. Album in stores. Yeah, it is something like that, KTS, right? Like, oh yeah, none of you lefties would ever dare show up. By the way, I stream on this channel 9 p.m. Eastern time, and none of you would ever dare show up. Like, okay. Okay, my dude. Not everything needs to be a public spectacle. True, F those guys. Yeah, so, pay attention to this. Pay attention to how, yeah, WrestleMania. Yeah, the WrestleMania optics of it is just, like, not my thing. I will do serious debates, though. With, like, a moderator, a topic, and a structured debate. I will do that. I have done that before, in public. So yeah, the thing to get from this is, yeah, this is bad. This is bad. This is a very clear, just clear axing of women's rights, a woman's right to choose. And furthermore, it also kind of illuminates us on the new strategy, right? The new strategy of how they feel like things are going to work out for them. And I think we should probably learn from this. Okay? Get familiar with your local and state legislatures. Get familiar with the types of bills that are coming down the pipeline so we don't get like, so that you don't get blindsided when randomly your city becomes the next sanctuary for the unborn city, right? Pay attention, folks. This stuff matters, and this stuff affects, like, this stuff affects real people. So we'll see what happens with this. As fourth stimulus check gains momentum, records show 1.2 million unspent indirect payments. Numerous congressional Democrats support sending out a fourth round of stimulus checks for Americans economically struggling during the pandemic. However, over 1.2 million previously issued stimulus remain unspent. Okay, what does it even mean? Like, unspent? Oh, and? At least 80 Democrats in Congress. Like, why do you need to, like, okay, whatever. At least 80 Democrats in Congress, including 21 Senate Democrats and Vice President Kamala Harris, support a fourth check, possibly as part of a recurring payment. Now, this would be interesting. So I'm just going to go over the TLDR of this really quickly. If they do move into the direction of having like a temporary UBI while we finish this year, that would be phenomenal for the, that would be phenomenal. A temporary UBI to get us through this year as we pick ourselves up during this pandemic would be phenomenal, right? As we begin to look at better trends. I think that a temporary UBI towards the end of the year would be phenomenal, and I think it would work temporarily, because I don't know, I feel like UBI is still, I don't know, I'm on the fence about it. I'm not too 100% convinced that it should just be a thing. I feel like there are better programs to address the problems that UBI supposedly fixes. But a temporary UBI, as a temporary lift, would be good. I think it could help people. I think it could help people. The proposed amount for the fourth check remains uncertain. Minnesota Representative Ilhan Omar supported recurring checks of $2,000. However, Adam Rubin, Director of Economic Security Project, a group that has advised the White House on recurring checks, that the amount should be at least $1,000. So meet us somewhere in the middle, 1,500 of reoccurring checks till the end of the year, or until we get ourselves up from the economic impact from this pandemic? Yeah, I think so. To help control costs, Democrats have suggested several solutions. 7 of the House of Ways Committee have suggested tying direct payments to national economic conditions such as the unemployment level. Biden and other Democratic leaders have previously considered limiting payments only to individuals who fall below a certain income level. I think that's probably the easiest way, because like you don't want to sit here and like do a whole bunch of like bureaucratic like means testing, right? Just say, okay, if you make under X amount, 75,000 and under, you get these payments until the end of the year, or until this like economic downturn is over, right? I would argue that it would probably speed up the recovery, economically speaking. I think that this is a interesting conversation. I'm not sure if like making it permanent would be a thing. I would be in favor of like, hey, look, clearly there are universal governmental programs that work. How about, since we know that having a temporary like universal governmental program, a universal basic income, hey, this works. How about now we can have some type of universal healthcare system? How about we can move into a universal college, like community college program where everybody gets tuition-free community college? Let's move towards that. I do feel like a permanent UBI is not the solution. I feel like there's just better ways to deal with problems. One being like, for example, homelessness. I don't see just give people the homes. Just give people homes, food, housing, education, and healthcare. Just do that. Just do that. But it would be cheaper. But I guess as a temporary stopgap, at least till the end of the year, a UBI might actually be pretty good. A UBI might bridge that gap, you know? You gotta go? No problem. Thank you so much for hanging out, Heat. Don't forget to show for yourself. Aha! See. I already did. Have a great day. You have a great day. See, the joke's on you. I already did shill for myself. Huh? I already did the thing, the shill. Right? Shamelessly shilled. I should really start listening to your show. Sea of Noise, thank you for the follow. Yeah, you should. Thank you for the follow, Sea of Noise. Anywho, TLDR, I would be in favor of this, but I also think that this could kickstart the conversation to better universal programs. Peace. Don't forget, follow Heat 420 _. This could kickstart the conversation to better universal programs. It could kind of bridge that gap, maybe. So this is interesting. Unless the Democratic Party wants to do something about these problems, they could be a little bit stronger. Given the fact that they have some power at this point. But that is, whatever action is yet to be seen, right? Whatever action that ends up actually taking effect remains to be seen. It is unlikely that you will achieve bipartisan support for any of this. So, up to them if they want to pass it through budget reconciliation and try to provide some actual assistance to the people. Up to them. Otherwise, it's all talk. Otherwise, it's all talk, yeah? Jesus Christ. I just saw this. This is horrifying. This is horrifying. I just caught this headline right here. This one right here. So sad. Jesus. Unbelievable. That's just horrifying. I feel like this is going to propel the conversation up to the front in terms of like having, and I'm personally not necessarily opposed to sensible, effective, fair gun control, but this is yikes. Random, what do you feel is the most, well, it's not random, the most effective way to punish the Dems for, what is there to say? I mean, just senseless. Well, it's not senseless. There's clearly, motive. He targeted specific people, but horrifying. But what do you feel is the most effective way to punish the Dems for ignoring us and pretending Republicans are always in the way? Sure, the Republicans are in the way, but they use that excuse even when they have the majority. Yeah, like, this kind of shines the light on that, right? This kind of blows that narrative out of the water, right? This kind of blows that narrative out of the water. Stop making excuses and do your job. I mean, like, this is, I would say this to all NL representatives. You're supposed to be representing us. You're not doing any of that. I don't know how the best and effective way to quote-unquote punish the Democratic Party for screwing, you know, fumbling, dropping the ball, other than support every time like a primary contender has come up. Support the primary contender and see like effectively like just start punishing them that way. If you can't do your job, you will be primaried and you will lose. I don't know. Like, just either get better candidates or you will be voted out, or either make better decisions or you will be voted out. I don't know. The enthusiasm for voting, the enthusiasm for your party is going to go phenomenally down the drain if you continue to push all of these wonderful, phenomenal, like, you know, solutions and then do none of them and then blame the other party while you having the ability, somewhat of the ability, to at least do everything you can to better this place, right? I mean, it's just as simple as that. Like, if you're not going to do that, if you're not going to do your job, the people are just going to get tired of it. They're not going to be enthusiastic to vote for you. So, like, where's the conclusion that I keep coming back to is, well, maybe they just don't want to win. I don't know. Hitting their pockets have been the most effective way to so far, but I wonder how long that'll last. That's another thing. That's a good point. Funding opposition in terms of like primary opponents. I wasn't gonna bring it up. I just saw that headline 43 minutes ago. This just headline was put to the front. But what is there to say? I mean, it's just horrifying, Memias. So yeah, I mean, they just have to step it up. They have to step it up. They have to. I think that hiding behind the meme of bipartisanship isn't working, and it's hindering their ability to do possibly some good, right? I mean, the Republican Party isn't interested in bipartisanship. They never were. They need to get that notion out of their head. Okay? They need to get that notion out of their head. Clearly, every time the Republican Party has had the majority, in every single instance, majority, whether it be in the state or federal level, they do everything they can. Everything they can to ram through their agenda. That's what they did with these federal judges. That's what Mitch McConnell did with these federal judges. That's what all these state legislators are doing with their majorities. Do you think that they're do you think they're interested in bipartisanship when they did the type of laws that they've been enacting? No, they need to get rid of that notion. But yeah, I don't know what the effective way of punishing them for is without just like ceding, without just saying like, all right, I guess we're just not going to vote at all, and then it becomes worse. But then I don't know. But then it just becomes worse because then you allow the GOP ground, and that doesn't work either. That's not a viable solution either. So just primary them with better candidates. I don't know. Just primary them with better candidates and show up to, again, we the people, you need to organize and get familiar with your local and state legislatures. That's it. A peasants revolt. No, I don't know. I don't know if we're there yet. Like, you know, they know the Republican Party won't play nice when they're back in Parliament. Yeah, exactly. It is infuriating, which makes me question their motive. They have to fix the gerrymandered districts in many states to even dent GOP power. That's true, but I think that just gerrymandering at all should be just banned. No more gerrymandering. Enough. Neither party can cut out districts like that. Enough. Let it be an actual democratic process and see who wins. Right? The gerrymandering alone could shift the balance in Congress next midterms. The gerrymandering alone could potentially single-handedly flip that power. It's unacceptable. Anyways, folks, unfortunately, I do have to get going. I appreciate each and every one of you guys hanging out here. Thank you guys so much. And again, if you enjoy the content, make sure you hit the follow button, like, subscribe, share, do all that awesome stuff. We're here Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, doing the news and politics, and we're here Saturdays at about noon. So make sure you hit the Discord, hit the YouTubes to follow up with all of that awesome stuff. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for the recent follows: Sea of Noise, Killer 2 Feet, and Surfer Girl Philly with the 200 biddies, Alio with the 11 biddies. Thank you guys so much. U.S. citizens should threaten to pack up and move to Canada. No, that doesn't work. Just about every other week, McConnell says, I'm 100% on focusing the Biden. Yeah, they're not interested in bipartisanship. This is exactly the same playbook that was seen in 2008. This is no different. I'll make breakfast. Sweet. Heading over right now, booking my flight, Memmius. Thank you guys so much for joining. I appreciate it. I love you all. Please take care of each other. Stay safe. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next stream. See ya. Alright, folks. Hang with us. Thank you again. Thank you for hanging out. Alright, folks, so if you hang with us, we'll go to Bleep Bop Ben's channel. Just hang out with us, okay? We're heading out to raid with in 5, 4, 3. We're heading out in a 100% focused on raiding Bleep Bop Ben, okay? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.